Hello and welcome to this new episode. In this episode, I'm going to talk about the inner child and the sovereign archetype. In the realm of psychology, Carl Jung's theories can offer insights into the human psyche and its archetypal patterns. Among these archetypes, the inner child and the sovereign play crucial roles in our psychological development. Understanding the interplay between these two aspects can lead to greater balance, authenticity, and wholeness in our lives. The inner child archetype here represents the innocent, imaginative, and creative aspects of a person's personality that are often suppressed as they mature and conform to societal expectations. When this archetype is repressed, it can lead to a loss of playfulness, joy, and creativity, and can also cause a person to feel detached from their own inner desires and impulses. The inner child, in that sense, is also connected to the divine child archetype as well, which represents the potential for growth, creativity, and innocence. So in this episode, I want to go deeper into the inner child and the sovereign, both linked to the archetype of the self. Different aspects of it. And the reason for this is that, really knowing this needed balance between the inner child and the sovereign, and this kind of frame very much helped me in my own journey to find a better balance between these two aspects and to balance this out. Where I also use the round table metaphor as a way of interacting with the different aspects of myself, which, the inner child and the sovereign are a part of. When we go deeper into the inner child side of this, regarding, both the inner child and the sovereign, well, the inner child represents our genuine, vulnerable, and playful self. It encompasses our emotions, innocence, creativity, and spontaneous nature, often carrying unhealed wounds and unresolved experiences from childhood. So the inner child holds our unmet needs and yearns for acknowledgement and healing when it comes to the inner child carrying such unhealed wounds. And in that sense, embracing the inner child involves recognizing and addressing these wounds, nurturing our inner innocence and reconnecting with our authentic self. So the inner child can in this sense be seen as the acorn within us, this divine essence that needs tender care and nurturing and can from this grow into, for instance, the hero or seeker archetype, to give two examples. Though, how this plays out is very personal. Yet, what is very much part of this, regardless of how it exactly plays out in the personal, individuation journey of one, is that this inner essence, grows into the authentic self. The capital S, self, from a Jungian lens. So the center of our personality. And in that sense, both the divine child and hero are their own archetype, but also part of the archetype of the self, which is the, like I said, the center of our psyche beyond our immediate conscious awareness. Now, when it comes to the sovereign archetype itself, well, there's a dance of balance that normally occurs when it comes to this process. And it's very much about achieving harmony between the inner child and the sovereign archetype, which really necessitates acknowledging the needs and emotions of the inner child while embodying the qualities of the sovereign. And this integration supports the growth and development of the individual, leading to a balanced and fulfilling life. And you can see these aspects within oneself as the different aspects within one's inner round table, these needing reintegration if necessary, being tied to part of one's soul's essence, and with it, totality of the self. And how this plays out, depends on one's unique archetypal energies, that are present within one's psychological makeup. But what is regardless important is to learn how to balance these different energies within one's round table. To find ways to balance these aspects so they can support each other and be integrated. It also very much requires to look at the dualities inherent, between these different archetypes as well. One of them is the inner child and the sovereign archetype, but at the same time, you can also have that with the scapegoat and the redeemer, for instance. Those are two aspects that belong together as much as both, the hero and the villain and various other examples like that do exist as well. But key aspects of a symbiotic relationship between the inner child and the sovereign archetype would also really boil down to the following. The sovereign archetype here serves as the nurturing container for the inner child's healing journey. And through qualities of protection, fairness, and wisdom, the sovereign creates an environment where the inner child feels supported, validated, and loved. And by addressing and healing the wounds of the inner child, the sovereign helps restore balance and inner harmony. Where the inner child brings spontaneity, creativity, and emotional authenticity to the sovereign archetype. And in that sense, it encourages the sovereign to tap into their inner joy, playfulness, and imagination, fostering a sense of aliveness and vitality. And simultaneously, the sovereign provides structure and guidance to the inner child, allowing its expression to be grounded and aligned with higher values. And the sovereign archetype, next to this, also is connected to wisdom and discernment, which play a crucial role in decision-making, considering the needs and desires of the inner child. As such, the sovereign ensures that decisions are made with a sense of responsibility and consideration for the greater good, while honoring the authentic desires and aspirations of the inner child. And finally, balancing the inner child and the sovereign archetype also results in the integration of the psyche, leading to a sense of wholeness. By nurturing the inner child's needs and healing its wounds, the sovereign allows for a more authentic and empowered expression of the self. And this integration fosters self-confidence, inner authority, and a deeper connection to one's purpose and values. And really, this delicate dance of balance and integration allows us to embrace our vulnerable, playful nature while embodying wisdom, authority, and responsibility. And by nurturing our inner child and embodying the qualities of the sovereign, we can create a more harmonious and balanced inner landscape, leading to greater wholeness, authenticity, and fulfillment in our lives. And this integration is also not a static state, but a dynamic process of healing, growth, and self-discovery. It requires acknowledging and addressing the wounds of the inner child while also honoring the wisdom and discernment of the sovereign. And I hope that with these things said, that this gives you some ideas regarding, the balancing between these two archetypes, and also, some ideas for reflection in your own life, in what way, this resonates and how one could find that kind of balance, within. With that said, thank you, and maybe see you next time.